What's going on, guys? Andrew here from Kos Sports. Today I'm going to be giving you my live reaction to the first college football playoff rankings of the 2018-19 season. Whew, this is going to be fun. I think everyone's been kind of just tired of the AP poll for a while. It's just at this point, it's time for the playoff rankings. It's week 10 now, this upcoming week. There's some really good games this week. But today we're going to find out really what the committee is looking at. And I'm really excited to see what they are going to favor as far as maybe strength of schedule or quality losses, for example, like with the one-loss teams of Michigan, LSU, and Georgia. That's, I think, interesting. I think the top three, it's going to be kind of simple. Bama 1, Clemson 2, Notre Dame 3, but there could be some shakeup. However, I am also interested to see where they're going to put UCF. Are they going to be even in the top 10? Where are they going to have Ohio State? How much did that loss to Purdue hurt them? There's a couple things that I'm specifically looking at, but there's, I think, some things that are set in stone. If Alabama's not one, I don't understand what the committee is going to be doing, but that's just me. So my playoff rankings, actually, though, as a whole, that's going to be Alabama at 1, Clemson at 2, Notre Dame at 3, LSU at 4. Originally, I had Michigan at 4, but the more I've thought about it, I think LSU's strength of record is a little bit better, so that's kind of why I'm leaning a little bit more towards them. But I'm really excited to see where these rankings are going to go. But without further ado, let's get to the show. All right, here we go. Here's the first rankings. All right, so 25, Virginia, 24, Iowa State, 23, Fresno State, 22, Boston College, 21, NC State. Well, I'm surprised they kept NC State to this point because their best win, I guess, is Boston College, but that's, wow, especially after losing to Syracuse. I guess that means Syracuse is not going to be in here, but I'm surprised Syracuse is, if they're not in here, oh, they are in here. Wow, they're at 19. I was about that. That's making that Clemson close win against Syracuse look even better now. The fact that Syracuse is a top 20 team and their only loss, considering the fact that it is other losses against Pittsburgh in overtime. A&M at 20, Mississippi State 18, Texas at 17, Iowa at 16. All right. Mississippi State's had a really tough schedule, so I think that's why, even with 3 losses, that they're as high up as they are. Same with A&M, because they have a really good win. Remember, they've given only Kentucky their only loss. So that's really big for A&M. So that's wow, that's a lot of teams now Clemson has beaten in the current rankings. What now? Or that could be up to 4 if they beat Boston College. Currently 3, if you include NC State. Now let's see, 15 through 11. Utah 15, Penn State 14, West Virginia 13, UCF 12. Wow. Wow, I guess that really poor strength of schedule for UCF's going to come back and haunt them again. And Florida at 6-2, sitting there at 11. I mean, I feel, though, for UCF, but their strength of schedule this year is terrible. And keep in mind, they almost lost to Memphis, who's, I think got like already 4 or 5 losses this year. So that is really interesting to think about. Those rankings are surprising. I think the most surprising thing for me was seeing NC State at 21, considering just their best win is against Boston College, but looking at their schedule, it's really tough. It really sucks for them, both them and West Virginia, that game earlier in the year between the two of them got canceled. That would have been really cool to see. That before the Clemson game, to see where NC State was at. Of course, Clemson kind of just had their way with them, to say the least. But that was a really surprise for NC State. But then again, I'm not on the committee. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with the top 10 now. It's so no UCF. So we know Ohio State's gonna be in the top 10, which is kind of not a surprise. But you know, it's wow. I'm just kind of more shocked that NC State was in there. That's my biggest surprise. Syracuse being up at 19, that's respectable though. They've had a good season so far. They beat a good NC State team. They, of course, almost beat Clemson. Their second loss was in overtime. So kudos to them for giving Syracuse a little respect. I've been trying to tell people for a while that this Syracuse team this year was going to be a decent team. Eric Dungey's a very good quarterback. He could maybe do something in the NFL. I don't know. But respect to them for giving Syracuse that recognition. Fresno State as well. Virginia getting in the top 25 now. That's pretty good. Remember, they beat Miami, of course, earlier this year, but they're currently the leaders in the Coastal. So crazy to see what could happen there. Wow, I was surprised. The only thing I could have maybe argued, you could argue maybe Georgia Southern in there, because they just crushed Appalachian State last week, and now their only loss is at Clemson. So I think if there's any team that could have maybe deserved to get in, it would have been Georgia Southern. But let's look at these top 10. So 10's Ohio State. I think that's a fair spot for them given on their strength of schedule. But just that loss to Purdue was rough. Kentucky and wow. I mean, Kentucky's really only good win. Actually, they got two now. They got Mississippi State and Florida, but wow. Especially after the way they barely beat Missouri last week, needed a last untimed down to win that game. That's wow. Kind of surprised by that. Not gonna lie. Interesting, very interesting. Kentucky at 9, Ohio State at 10. Ooh, wow. They really have Washington State up there with the one loss. 7-1. I mean, you think about this. Their one loss came at USC, which was kind of a debatable call, and they've got some good wins against Oregon and Stanford. Oklahoma at 7. Okay, I kind of see. So the top 6 is going to be the top 6 teams that I thought it was going to be. Oklahoma, really, they just don't have that signature win yet. Of course, they have a chance later this year against West Virginia and whoever they play in the Big 12 championship game. But they just really don't have that signature win yet. And they've struggled at times. That overtime win against Army was a little bit of a concern. But I think they did good putting Oklahoma at 7. Wazoo, a little surprised just because where they were in the AP poll maybe. But like I said, like they guys at ESPN said, these guys on the committee do not care about the AP poll. These are their own rankings. So a little bit of a surprise there to see Wazoo at 8. But I think they do deserve a little bit of respect. Like I said, one loss came at USC, who is still a respectable team. Their record might not show it, but USC is really tough to beat in the Coliseum. So kudos to them for giving Wazoo that respect. I did not see that coming. I thought if anything they would have been at 10, maybe Kentucky at 9, Ohio State at 8, or Kentucky at 8, Ohio State at 9. But wow, that's very surprising to say the least. I think for Ohio State, just how bad they lost at Purdue, that's why they are not above what's it called? They're not above Kentucky or Washington State. And also, looking at Ohio State, they really haven't beaten anybody outside of Penn State. Now, that win at Penn State was big, but Penn State lost again against Michigan State there. So, how good is Penn State? Now, they credit Penn State. They did beat Iowa this past weekend. So, they're still a quality team, but that TCU game is really not looking that good considering that TCU just lost to Kansas. So, Ohio State, I know a lot of their fans were bragging about that TCU win early in the year when TCU was a top team, but they've fallen off. I don't think this TCU team was that good. And and people say, oh, it's just because they lost to Ohio State. No. Losing to Ohio State, where you blow the game, shouldn't cause you to blow the lead to Kansas. That just doesn't work. And with Ohio State also, I've been saying this all year. Their defenses look shaky. Unless they really fix their defense, I don't think they're going to beat Michigan. Michigan's defense will slow down that offense, just kind of like Purdue, just like Purdue's did. But I think that Shea Patterson's really got that Michigan team going. So unless they can fix that offense, they're in trouble. Well, I'm really excited to see these top 4 teams. It's a lot to see. This is really interesting to see where the committee is putting everything. Oklahoma, though, if they win out, there's a good chance they make it. But they really just don't have that signature non-conference schedule game. Everyone said originally at the beginning of the year, Florida Atlantic, who was pretty good last year, they're not looking that good this year by any means. So that's not really looking good for Oklahoma. So And that Army game where they struggle, that's another question. So I'm really excited to see though what these rankings are going to be like. It's going to be fun. Wow. But now the real question is, what are we going to see with, for say, like, what are we going to see with the let's say 4 through 6? That's what I think is really kind of the thing. I think the top 3 are kind of set. The only thing you can maybe do is flip around Clemson and Notre Dame, which I can respect putting Notre Dame again. They have some good wins, like against Michigan. But here we go. Let's see the top 6. And one, of course, the Alabama Crimson Tide. No surprise. They looked dominant as competed this year. No surprise. Respect for them. They kind of deserve that one. Number 1 spot this year. Number 2, Clemson. Just like I thought. I think Clemson, especially you watch these last 3 weeks that they have played, they have looked extremely dominant. I think that Syracuse win was a wake-up call. That Syracuse win is looking better and better. So now they're 19. LSU at 3. Wow. No respect for Notre Dame. And so I assume Notre Dame's going to be 4, right? Because they did beat Michigan. I mean, that wouldn't make sense. Wow. I guess they're really giving LSU the respect for that win against Georgia. I mean, of course, they did beat also Mississippi State, who's ranked in the top 20. But wow, I did not see that coming. That kind of that kind of shocked me a little bit. But if Notre Dame's not at 4 now, this is just, now that's madness. Notre Dame, okay. If Notre Dame hadn't been 4, that would have just been ridiculous. So respect for that. They deserve to at least be in the top 4. I think still they should be 3, simply because they are undefeated. They have a huge win against Michigan. Of course, LSU beating Georgia, and then Michigan at 5. No surprise there. I think everyone saw that coming. Georgia at 6. Kind of what I thought. The only thing really that kind of surprised me here was Notre Dame and LSU flip-flopped. Wow. I did not see that one coming. So, Alabama, though, I see, seeing them in the, at 1, that was kind of a no-brainer. But now looking at LSU at 3, that's kind of, I think, the one that's really kind of the head-scratcher. But they did beat multiple top 10 teams earlier in the year. But however, Miami and Auburn, who were those top 10 teams, have both fallen out of the top 25 in the rankings. They're not there. Auburn lost at home against Tennessee, and Tennessee won in more convincing fashion than LSU did. So, quite frankly, how's that win against how's that win really against, how good is that win against Auburn? Now I'll give them this. They did beat Georgia in very convincing fashion. I think that's kind of what gave them the edge against Notre Dame. Notre Dame did beat Michigan in a very close game. That is, however, Michigan's only loss. And also just like how Georgia, a team that beat Florida, a team that beat LSU. So I think that win's looking a little bit better for LSU. I think it's kind of saying that between that little group of 3 between Georgia, Florida, and LSU, that Georgia and LSU are really the top dog. I think Florida's win was more kind of a fluke, just given how bad Georgia beat Florida. And Florida also struggled, remember, against Vanderbilt. So I think you have to give the edge to Georgia over those Florida for sure, especially now with the 2 losses and Florida losing to Kentucky as well. But this was, wow. I did not expect to see Alabama, or was it? I did not expect to see LSU at 3. That's really kind of the one that's shocked me there. Maybe Washington State 8. Those in the top 10, those really are the 2 that kind of shocked me. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video today. If you are a fan of it, be sure to give it a like. And if you are stopping into the channel for the first time, please make sure to subscribe. I will see you next time. Take care. Have a great day.